to the same question I asked, which is, do voters have a right to know more detailed health information about presidential candidates and especially about presidents?
Susan, I'm glad you asked about transparency because it has to be across the board. Joe has been incredibly transparent over many, many years. The one thing we all know about Joe, he puts it all out there. He is honest, he is forthright. But Donald Trump, on the other hand, has been about covering up everything.
Thanks.
So we see what she said in this debate in 2020.
Now we did.
And they just released this and before we even get to it, we know that we've seen Joe Biden's cognitive decline ourselves. This is not like we're guessing or alleging. Like, we've watched it take place while they keep telling us, nah, he good, he's straight, he's good. So let's listen.
So during this time, we were living in Chambers Road, and there were documents related to the Penn Biden Center or the Biden.
Yo, can you hear it?
I can hear it. It's a little bit of an echo.
That's from it though.
Yeah, I know. And I see they have the captions on there.
Cancer from your shot, or your book. Where did you keep papers that related to those things that you were actively working on?
Well, I don't know. This is what, 2017, 18, that area?
Yes, sir.
Remember, in this time frame, my son is either been deployed or is dying. And so it was, and by the way, there were still a lot of people at the time when I got out of the Senate that were encouraging me to run in this period, except the president. It's not a mean thing to say, but he just thought that she had a better shot of winning the presidency than I did. And so I hadn't at this point, even though I'm at Penn, I hadn't walked away from the idea that I may run for office again. If I ran again, I'd be running for president. And so what was happening though, when did Bo die? May 30th, 2018. Was it 2015 he died?
2015.
I think it was 2015.
I'm not sure the month, but I think that was.
Yeah.
That's right, Mr. President.
And what's happened in the meantime is that Trump gets elected in November of 2017, 2016. All right. So,
bro, before we finish this, like, okay, we are dealing with a president that did not know when his son died.
Yeah, he said he was either deployed or he was dying.
And he was 3 whole years off. Because right here he says, then they confirm, he died in 2015. But in the beginning, he says, 2017, 2018, I don't remember, he was either dying or deployed.
Yeah.
So you telling me this is who they were dealing with on a daily basis and running around talking about how on point he is? Like, come on, bro. And again, we are going to argue this. As black people, we gonna argue this. Liberals for sure. As anything is better than the orange man. Anything is better than the orange man. And it's like, come on, man. Like, this why y'all lost right now. That's why y'all crying right now. Yo, this is what y'all wanted. This is what y'all wanted.
Why not 2017 here?
That's when you left office, January of 2017.
But that's when Trump gets sworn in.
Right,
January.
right, correct.
Okay, yeah. And in
Quick
2017,
question.
Bo had passed, and
When was this interview? So it said while he was president, though, right?
Yeah. Hold on.
And so was this before he decided to run for re-election? Do you know?
Yeah, I think so. This was Biden, because it was with Robert Hur. This was what year was this? Hold on. $2023.
No. Okay, this was recent.
Yep.
This was right when they were deciding whether he would run for re-election or not, because he ran in 2024, right?
Yep.
So this was them setting it up. And wow, so they were listening to this president struggle with remembering dates. It's pretty obvious that his memory was pretty much shot.
Yo, listen, if you forget when your son died, you can't tell me anything else, yo. Like, there's nothing else to discuss. You
But then
know.
now, though, but that makes me question, right? So we've seen, and I know that ultimate debate where he just struggled through, but I guess so because I'm trying to figure out there were elements where he was still fine, and I guess maybe it was kind of like just a circumstantial thing. Like I guess he was good sometimes.
Nah, so I think even here, he's not 100% gone. He's,
Yeah,
like a good 30%,
yeah, but it's
35. So
enough for it to be noticeable. And like, yeah, now I don't know, like
yeah,
something's going on with him.
yeah. I mean, shit. You remember the debate? Donald Trump was like, "Yeah, I don't even know what the hell he just said right there." He was doing it, bro.
Hmm.
He was showing it to
Yeah.
everybody, man. This joint crazy, but look, let's see. Oh, and by the way, so it was 2023 when it was done. I mean, yeah, it was done in October 8th and 9th of 2023,
Okay.
and the transcript was released in March 2024, but the Biden administration blocked the release of audio recordings, citing executive privilege.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
obviously, you know what I'm saying? If
Okay.
we're on camera and decide to only release the audio, it's because we don't want you to fucking see what the fuck is going on camera. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
they actually had the video with it.
If we release, and this isn't the video, this is just the audio. They
Yeah.
just released the transcript. It's like, look, you could read what he said,
Yeah.
but you cannot actually hear him say that.
Hmm.
It's wild, bro. Let's see.
this is personal. The genesis of the book and the title "Promise Me, Dad" was I know you're all close with your sons and daughters, but Bo was like my right arm, and that was my left. These guys were a year and a day apart, and they could finish each other's sentences. And Bo, I used to go home on the train in the period that I was still in the Senate. Anyway, I can't remember.
So I want to
There was
know.
pressure, not pressure. Bo knew how much I do.
Bro, hold on.
I want to know.
And,
Hold
I
on.
want to know. Hold on 1 second. I want to know, and I know we're not gonna know, but I would want to know what his team. I wonder. So first off, the question I had was who was in there during this interview. The second thing I would want to know is like, yo, what were their reactions to what they were hearing? Because I know they saw it in person, but so look, right? This reminds me of my grandmother, right? And my grandmother now has been gone. She passed away about 3 or 4 years ago. And I would call my grandmother a lot over the years. Just have some of the most great, outstanding, funny ass conversations with my grandmother. And as the years went on, my grandmother was struggling with dementia. And now initially I didn't know, right? So, because she would be able to still carry these conversations, like everything made sense until it didn't. And then I was like, oh, wow. Like there was things that when I look back, I was like, shit. There was like little small things that were taking place that she would say and I'd be like, okay, just but you kind of overlook it, yeah, because yeah, she's old, so
That was
it's
an ad.
old,
That,
it's old people.
that was a little ad, but it was at appropriate time. So
Yeah. So, but like I said, it got to the point where I was just like, oh wow, like she's gone, like her mind is all over the place, and so I would want to know like what his team's realization was and like how did they respond to it. And I think
you saw how they responded.
Well, they responded to it by ultimately protecting him, but they harmed the American public in protecting him.
So hold on, and let me listen to the last 23 seconds, and then I'm gonna say something.
And this sounds so. Everybody knew how close we were. There was not anybody in the world who wondered whether or not. Anyway. And so.
I'm wondering if it's a good time to take a break. Briefly.
No, let me just keep going and get it done.
He's like, I gotta go take a nap, man. We gotta finish this up.
So, okay. This was an interview. So, just so you know, for context, what they were interviewing him about, brother, is his handling of classified documents, the same way they eviscerated Donald Trump.
Got you.
It was to investigate Joe Biden's handling of classified documents found at his former office and home after his vice presidency ended in 2017. That's what they was talking to.
Okay, it makes sense.
Right? And his legal team was present. His entire legal team was present. But this just remind me of the FDR joint, Like, they're not protecting Joe Biden. They're protecting the power, the position. There's so much
the institution.
beyond. Yes, the institution of it. So you can't allow him to be seen as weak because this impacts negotiations on an international level. Um, so I get that aspect of it, of why the motivation is. Like, we gotta, that's one of them things, man. People gotta get out their feelings. You gotta understand why the other side is doing what it is that they're doing. Whether you agree with it or don't agree with it, you still should comprehend it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how you can find some type of middle ground. That's how you could try to negotiate, is understanding where the other side is coming from, whether you agree with that take or not. But the people we saw was dealing with him like this. They knew this on a daily basis. And y'all was running him a second term just so he could run long enough, be in it long enough to pass it on to Kamala. Cause y'all wanted to make sure it was ushered in right to her, and y'all was gonna take care of it from there, and we was gonna have our first woman president in whatever race she claimed on that day.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, it's all about concessions.
Yo,
So we were going to celebrate the concessions of it.
yo, this
It
is
was, it was
crazy.
never really about the American people.
Like, yo, so now, what does this make you think of? You brought up your grandmother. If your grandmother, when you realize that your grandmother, that's where your grandmother is, are you honoring, let's say, your cousins or your brothers, saying, hey, I talked to grandma, and grandma signed everything over to me. She signed her will and left me everything and all that. Who accepts that?
Yeah, that's disingenuous.
You know what I'm saying? So who accepts that? Like, that wouldn't hold up and shouldn't hold up in a court of law, because she wasn't of sound mind. So if we're looking at this and saying this is what our president was like behind closed doors, it's like, yo, this is somebody that wasn't of sound mind. So then the next thing comes into play is those pardons. Does he know what he really was doing? If this is how he presented himself,
Good point.
like, what does this allow to be called into question when it involves his signature now? Because look at him. Or listen to him, I should say. We can't see him.
Yeah.
Like, we got to do better as a people, bro. Like, we got to be able to apply scrutiny even on the home team. When your home team loses, you want your team to do better. You want your team to go into free agency and get better. You want them to go to the draft and get better. And that means you got to make tough decisions and say, yo, who's not cutting it? We got to improve at your position if we going to get over the hump. Everybody got to be able to do that. If the Republicans would have lost, that's what would have happened on this side of the fence. If that's what should be happening on the Democrat side of the fence, it's like, yo, how do we regroup? What do we got to do? And this is not the battle you want. Like, it's almost like the liberal side has become the party of all the minorities. You know what I'm saying? All the DEI, everything that is in DEI is like all what makes up the liberal party, and
Yeah.
it's like, I'm just not seeing how that's a winning strategy. Like, this is that soft shit. This is the stuff that we talk about. Like, you got to make hard decisions. And they violated, played with us in our face, told us this man, and think about how many people, bro, when he first was running, people was on that, oh yeah, second term, you don't know what you're talking about. Trump is only, 4 years younger than him. He's old too. Oh, it's too old. Biden is fine. It's just his limbs, how would you be walking when you reach that age? And it's like, come on, man. Come on. Like, we could hear him. This isn't a surprise. this is just embarrassing that this exists and it's now out. And it also goes to show that, you know, this is one of those things that I'll say Trump will have been facetious on, because he said, yo, you know, we're not targeting our political enemies and no one should be targeted politically and all this, that, and the other. And we know in different times, these are things that would not have been released, even if it was the other party. You know what I'm saying? Like there would have just been a respect for the dignity of the office, and you know, just the sacredness or the sacrament, whatever, of the office. That, yo, we're not gonna smear the office like that, even if I can't stand you, even if, you know, it's like, yo, this is bigger than us. Now we are part of the fraternity, and the fraternity is bigger than the individual. And Trump is coming through, letting his nuts hang.
And that's the biggest thing. And I think that needs to be the take of all Americans moving forward. This shit is bigger than all of us. This shit is bigger than us. And if we want our children to experience the innovation, experience the privilege, experience the safety, experience the opportunities that have been presented to us, we gotta really get outside of our feelings. We gotta acknowledge what it is and just push forward. We gotta do the work.